Have you ever sat with your finished song and you felt like it's just not good enough? And then when you compare to your favourite artists, you just doubt whether you're ever going to be able to make anything of your music. Well, let me tell you something that could change everything. Your music doesn't suck. You just might be too early to the game. And I'm going to prove this by talking about some famous names that you know, but some stories that you may never have heard. So to start, let's debunk the myth of overnight success. Social media has trained us to think that people blow up overnight. That one song, that one video, that one remix, something that just blows up and then they're playing the main stage at Ultra. But this is just a highlight reel. What we see is the breakout success, but what we don't see is the years and years of hard work that have built up to that moment. Here's some examples. Fred again was producing and ghostwriting for other artists, some huge names in the music industry, for years before he started putting out his own music. James Hype was playing gig after gig at local clubs, and he was entering DJ competitions like the one he spoke about on Radio 1, where he got to the finals and he was beat by Danny Howard. That was all way before he became as famous as he is today. And a really interesting one is Ed Sheeran. He's been very open with talking about how long it took him to get to where he is today. He said he played hundreds of tiny gigs in local venues like bars and pubs, and he did this for years at a young age until he finally broke through. So the point is that when you think your song sucks and that it's not good enough, you're comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. And I get it, I've been there myself, and it can make you feel so demoralized. And if this keeps happening over and over again with every song you make, then it's a one-way ticket to burnout as a music producer. So it's down to us to try and reframe this concept of overnight success, because let's face it, social media isn't going to stop showing us the highlights. People aren't going to stop posting their achievements. So we need to be able to look past this and approach it in a different way. And we can do this by remembering the hidden truth that most people won't tell you, and that is growth is invisible until it's not. It's a John Summit bedroom producer sending out countless demos to record labels, until they're John Summit headlining Ultra Festival with 4 million followers. Or it's Lyrah, who spent 2 years after quitting her job pursuing music full time until her song I Just Need went flying and brought her the success that she'd worked so hard to get. But all these artists sat and stuck with it during that invisible stage. It's when Lyrah just quit her job, or when John Summit was in his bedroom making music during the pandemic. And during this stage, you're developing your musical taste, your skills, your confidence, all things that are vital if you ever do blow up. So while you're laying the foundations of your music career, try not to judge yourself like you should have it all figured out. It'd be like if you were building a house and you were stacking those first few bricks, but then judging yourself and your progress as though it was a finished piece. Building the foundations can be slow, but it's happening every day, quietly, brick by brick, post by post, song by song. And eventually you'll look up one day and be amazed how far you've come. So what can you do during this stage to make it a little bit easier to endure? Well, there's a few things, because in terms of your music at the moment, you have no expectations from other people. You're your own boss, you control the direction, so you can do whatever you like. And what comes with that is the ability to experiment. You can experiment with different sounds, different styles of songs, different genres, and through that you'll start to develop your own sound. And eventually it's that sound that your audience are going to latch onto. Another thing you can do is build relationships right from the get-go. You get a lot of people getting caught up in streams, but what I believe is that in this invisible period, connections are way more important, because they're the things that could lead to success in the future. I started trying to build connections before I even released any music. I started interviewing other artists. I knew that I didn't have music to put out there, but I wanted some kind of content to be able to post about and to make some connections. So I just started DMing some artists, started doing these blog interviews, and I'm still doing them today. And each time I did one interview, I'd use that as a bit of a hook to ask someone else. Through that, I've already got to know a bunch of people, and it kind of meant when I was ready to start posting music, there was already a couple of people there ready to listen. So whether it's online, social media, or going to gigs, meeting people in person, it really doesn't matter which one. Just start building those connections today, and you'll thank yourself for it later. And here's a bit more of a tactical tip for you, which is to document your journey. You don't really want to wait until you've arrived, until you start posting online. People can connect with the process and the struggle of a journey, so you can document that from day one. And the final tip, above all, is just to be proud of yourself for what you've achieved so far. If you're 3 months into music production and you've just made an interesting loop, that loop doesn't suck, you're just 3 months in. If you're 2 years into music production and you've made a couple of cool songs, those songs don't suck, you're just 2 years in. And if you're 5 years in and you're making some really good music and you're sending it off to record labels and they're getting rejected, those songs don't suck either. It's just part of the game, it's part of the process. So we all need to be proud of our achievements, and we need to see past that concept of overnight success. Because here's the difference between where you are now and the people that have made it. It's that they didn't quit during those invisible years. They pushed through the silence, the self-doubt, the songs that only got 40 views, the Instagram posts that no one looks at. They kept learning, kept putting their stuff out there, kept creating, and they stayed available for the moment when things clicked. And that moment will come. So remember, your music doesn't suck. you're just on your way. If you found this video useful, come join my channel, subscribe, that'd be really cool, and I'll see you next time.